Whoever would have thought that a character that was introduced in a streaming short would go on to spawn 4 seasons of a comedy hit? Well, that's the genesis of IFC's Brockmire, which just finished its 4th and final season. Hi, I'm Dave Karger, and welcome to Series Rewind. Hank Azaria stars as Jim Brockmire, a hero in the long tradition of TV protagonists seeking redemption. Once a legendary baseball announcer, he learned of his wife's serial infidelity and suffered an on-air breakdown that cost him his career and made him a laughingstock. In Season 1, set 10 years later, he set off to make a comeback, starting as a small-town minor league play-by-play man. There he became powerfully and fatefully drawn to the team's mercurial owner, Jules James, played by Amanda Peet. Hank Azaria and Amanda Peet, what a pleasure to talk to both of you. Congratulations on the finale of Brockmire, which was terrific.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Hank, does it blow your mind that this started out as a Funny or Die sketch?
It used to blow my mind. I've gotten used to it. But it's one of those weird times where actually your show business plan works out. We actually made it into a movie first, or tried to, and we were in pre-production for 5 weeks and lost our financing 4 days before shooting. It's been a real saga, this whole thing.
Now, there's nothing to be scared of. No one's in trouble. Now, these affirm that you are no longer involved in a sexual relationship. And should you change your mind, here are forms that you must turn in simultaneously, letting the league know that you have re-entered a relationship.
That won't be necessary.
Yeah, no, those days are long over.
Great. And lastly, all I need are the declarations that I ask you to prepare regarding the length of the relationship.
Oh, boy. I think I misunderstood the assignment.
All we require is a short statement, as Miss James wrote. Jim and I dated for 5 months in the spring and summer of 2017.
Right.
You gave it a title?
I did.
Jim and Jules, the fuck year?
Yeah. Well, I was going to call it Mind Romp, but decided against that one for obvious reasons. My hatred of puns.
You were blacked out when we got kicked out of Waffle House.
Yeah, no, I pieced that one together using primary sources. You know, it turns out that back then, having public sex in a diner booth was considered regional news, yeah? Simpler times.
Well, I guess this tome very comprehensively fulfills the requirement. I just need to go make a copy. This may take a while.
I want to, of course, ask you guys about the idea of chemistry, because especially the last season, for me, the highlights of it were anytime it was you guys on the screen together. So the idea of chemistry, it's a combination of things. It's the fact that you guys are professionals, and that's what you're paid to do, is to have good chemistry with each other. But it also is the writing, but it also has to have something to do with just a general, real, authentic affection between the two of you guys. How would you rank all those different criteria?
We've been asked this so much that I've now thought about it a lot. I think we basically approach comedy the same way. I really do. We don't try to be funny, per se. We try to come at it just really Amanda does. Never mind. There goes my theory. We try to be as real as possible and, connect as much as possible. And I guess when two people are doing that at once, that means it's really good chemistry. I don't know. I just really like Amanda a lot, and I like her work a lot, and I think that comes through in the performance.
I think he has a point, though. I think that there are some actors for whom that isn't the goal of a scene, to connect with whoever it is, whether it's a man or a woman or a love scene or not. Like, there are plenty of actors, I'm sure you've worked with some of them, I know I have, where it's basically just like it feels like they don't even need the other person. Their performance is like mapped out, and it's a whole thing in and of itself. I think neither of us work that way.
Yeah, and I get such a kick out of Amanda as a human being and as an actor that I'm really psyched to see what she's going to do in the scene. Like, I'm really paying attention. Like, what is she going to come up with now? And so I think that comes through in the performance.
Is it fun to, in a general sense, just embrace the absurdity of a show like Brockmire, it seems like you guys have a lot of fun with that. I mean, the comedy is irreverent in so many ways, and I imagine the fact that it's IFC helps with that. Was that part of the fun of this show for you guys?
I don't get a lot of job offers, but when I get them, they're by and large, a mom role, like a suburban mom or wife who's, lovely. And I've said this before, but like to be lovely is not a playable action. Like there's nothing to play. And so when I read Brockmire, I was really excited that I was in my mid 40s and was going to play someone who wasn't interested in being a wife, wasn't interested in children, was only interested in baseball and drinking, and also wasn't into fashion. Like it was so refreshing. And yeah, I just feel very grateful that Joel created this nutty middle-aged lady.
I mean, the premise was absurd. We sort of started with absurd. What was surprising to me was the depth, humanity, and emotion that Joel wrote into it. Even, the first season, we had all 8 scripts and I knew them inside out, and we're shooting first day. And Tim Kirkby directed the first season. After first take with Amanda in the bar, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, I went pretty well. First take. Tim comes in, he's like, mate, it's real pain here. It's just really dark. It's just sad. Everyone, look, she's sad. You're sad. Everyone's in real pain, mate. I should be in every take. I was like, geez. And then I was like, he's right. And that sort of, it didn't even occur to me until we started shooting how much. So I was sort of aware of the absurdity because that's where we started, but not so much the depth. A lot of the fun of this character was, being in a real relationship with someone who's bringing real pain and darkness to it, like Amanda did. And I've got to respond in kind, but I have to talk like this when I do it. So that it's going to sound ridiculous. Like even if you're saying a heartfelt thing, you're like, well, now, honey, I do love you, but I'm having trouble connecting with exactly what you want from me right now. It just sounds so absurd. But that was a lot of the fun. Like, can I sound sincere while talking like that, while someone's really screaming and crying in my face?
I think for me, that's one of the things that's really fun about comedy, or even just when you're given a scene that is supposed to be funny, and to try to get back to that innocence of not knowing that it's funny and not playing the comedy of it is really, really fun. Like how dead serious can you be? How much can you ground this person's desires or whatever? And I find that to be really, really fun and harder than drama.
I was so curious to see how you guys were going to literally end the show. And that last scene is special. What did you guys like about the way it was decided for it to all finish up?
To me, what wasn't apparent, again, like that Tim Kirkby moment of you don't realize it till it's going on, is, whoa. Some things occurred to me while we were shooting it, like Brockmire has finally shut up. Like there's this long move where nobody, including him, is saying anything. And he's finally just taking the game and his family and his life in and not commenting. As Jules points out earlier in the episode, can you just live and be? Can you not comment on everything? And he's finally learned to do that, which I think is the real character arc for the guy. Sure, he and Jules have gotten together and loves his daughter, but the man has learned to shut up and enjoy life. Whether he's going to live or die doesn't really matter. That was the guy's success.
I want to run another clip because you guys have had so many great real life sports figure guest stars on the show. And there's just such a great moment with Joe Buck in season 4. So let's check that out.
Congratulations, Jim.
And now I'm living a nightmare. That's what's happening to me. Joe Buck.
Hey, is it true that some of these players are talking about a mid-season strike?
As commissioner, I'm not really at liberty to discuss that, Joe. But yes, these unions are just going to kill this game dead, Joe Buck. They're going to Mo Green it right in the eye. But I got bigger problems right now, Joe. Beth was supposed to give my introduction speech today, but we're in the middle of little father-daughter spat right now, so I was wondering if maybe you would be willing to be on deck for me.
Jim, I'd be honored.
Great.
And you were right to come to me. I mean, after all, we are best friends.
You're definitely not best friends, Joe.
No. You're not my best friend. But I am definitely your best friend. Let that dawning awareness overtake you. Look, I'm all you got, man. Someday I'm gonna be doing your goddamn eulogy.
Who the hell was that?
Who the hell was what?
Look, to be clear, I may not even need you to give the speech, okay? I just gotta talk Beth down off of this ledge.
Understood. I think I'm giving the speech.
No. Beth's a hothead like me. Sometimes she leads with her anger, but I'm her father, man. That is an unconditional love, and that love is gonna win the day.
Feels like I'm giving the speech.
Joe Buck did the short way back when. So we asked Joe to participate, and he was really game, and he said, sure. Joel wrote a lot of Joe's season 1 stuff so that it could be easily cut because we didn't know really what kind of chops he had, you know? And we were almost thinking, you know, it might be better if we had a Joe Buck, an actor playing a Joe Buck type. But then from take 1 on day 1, season 1, we couldn't. I remember it was like one of those moments where we called cut and it was like, oh my God, did you see Joe Buck? I mean, it was just like, I mean, I told Joel all the time, like, you can't be better than me, man. You have to tone it down a little because he's unbelievable. I mean, he's flawless on the jokes, right? He's completely connected. Like, it's just amazing. And he's totally game. So Joe has been a friend of the show, and we were so lucky. It's one of those unbelievable surprises.
I also have to ask you guys about all of the cool technology that you're able to show off in this last season that took place 10, 12 years in the future, most specifically with the personal assistant, Limon. So let's take a look at a clip featuring Limon.
How can we trust you?
As each American institution falls, the risk of violence and depression increases. The American myth needs to be restored, soon, and your version of baseball can help.
We need a place to discuss this offer privately.
Limon can't see or hear you.
Put your Limon pins in the privacy box if you want to talk freely.
Oh, okay.
Well, guys, what an exciting opportunity. You cannot agree to this. Limon does nothing through altruism.
You just sold your company to it.
For $5 billion more than it was worth. That's how much it paid for my self-respect.
Okay, you have way too much respect for yourself, Charles.
Limon didn't even want my business. It's just one of my proprietary charisma software. I think he's using it to improve its personality.
So, Jim Limon and I did the New York Times crossword puzzle in bed, and it was fun as hell.
That was my algorithm. I did that.
Well, thank you.
You don't understand. It's trying to make itself the portal everyone has to travel through to experience existence. Limon destroyed Google, Facebook, and Apple in under 5 years. It's replacing capitalism with Limon Favor. What's next?
Well, hopefully it's those robot cars that I was promised to make up for all the cataclysmic global warming. But here it is, an 80-degree day in February, and I'm still driving with 2 hands on a wheel like some kind of a goddamn monkey.
You think it's a coincidence I'm here right now? Limon engineered it so that you'd see a friendly face when it lured you to come here.
Lure me anywhere. I came up with that idea all on my own when I saw Liz oh, Jesus, of course. I should have known. She's not a tastemaker. She still wears her hair in a side pony like it's a goddamn 2020s.
Just because the largest corporation in history is also an all-knowing super being doesn't necessarily mean it's evil.
All right. Maybe we can get at the truth, a little detective work here. Watch this. Limon, we're freaking out. What the hell are you doing?
Great question, Jim. I am programmed to dominate market share. If I save baseball, there might still be a market to dominate.
See? Box closed.
But why baseball?
Great question, Charles. Opportunistic nationalism is the most direct route to assuming power. My patriotic embrace of baseball will be followed by my entrance into politics. Limon-backed candidates will pursue policies of social justice, reducing inequality, and lifting any and all regulations on Limon.
Oh, God, so close to being not terrifying.
I decided to direct human affairs only after I understood that the key to the future was love.
Aw, see, that's nice.
Men and women must repopulate the continental U.S. with healthy babies if we ever hope to defeat the evil Chinese Limon. There can only be one.
Easy there, Highlander.
It's so much fun, especially the scenes where you're interacting with your own little personal, cute, lemon-shaped Echo Siri Alexa device.
I think my favorite scene of the whole final season, Amanda, is when you are realizing, you ask Limon whether you love Jim or not. and it knows whether you do. Because in that scene, we don't know that Lamone is all powerful yet. Like Joel's writing always sneaks up. He lays in things. You don't think they matter. You think they're just for a joke or three. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, wait a minute. And the fact that she would trust Lamone enough to ask Lamone her emotional state when she doesn't know it. That's Lamone answers, and then she decides to go to Jim, and Lamone says, I just feel like you've had a lot of cocaine. It scolds her about her drug use. And then we realize in that scene that Lamone can see her. She's like, don't wear that hat. And she's like, whoa, you can see me? All of a sudden, in a span of 20 seconds, we get that this robot is kind of all-knowing. It's just great Joel Church Cooper writing.
You talk about the writing. There's so many great kind of one-off lines and turns of phrase that you each get to deliver. When you think back on this show, do each of you have a favorite line or phrase that you've gotten to say?
I'll tell you about Any Hoodles, though. That's like, I didn't like that line. I'm like, Any Hoodles. That's like, to me, that's
girly.
And it's not girly. It's just corny. It's like Any Hoodle. It's like, he's such a master with the English language. But Joel insisted that should be his one dorky, thing. So I eventually came to embrace it.
Any Hoodles. The point is this. Any Hoodles, turns out I understand God a lot better than I thought I did. Any Hoodles, I'm here for you.
I think it's a pleasure to talk to both of you. I congratulate you both on a great run and a terrific final season and a really lovely final scene.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. I love you, Hank.
Love you too, Amanda.
They say there's no crying in baseball, but we'll have to make an exception for Brockmire, which regularly inspired tears of laughter. Thanks so much for watching Series Rewind. I'm Dave Carter.